want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sauterheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
A business's phone is the lifeline to its customers and potential clients. That's why it's so important that you can take calls seamlessly from anywhere, whether you're on the road or in the office. Hamilton Business Technologies can help ensure your phone rings wherever you are. We can equip your headquarters and any of its locations with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we know how to keep Nebraska businesses connected. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Looking for something fun tonight? Axe throwing, local beer, and great vibes are waiting at Arbor Axe House. From casual nights out to celebrations and team events, it all starts here. Reserve a lane today at arboraxe.com. Arbor Axe House at the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, cold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
It's basketball season, and Salt Mine City is your pregame and postgame headquarters in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Get ready for the game with their big, fatty 7-ounce hamburger or try a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, your basketball headquarters, now open at 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, where your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Your possibilities are endless at Doane University. Rooted in liberal arts, you can choose from undergraduate and graduate programs, all delivering real-world experience. At Doane University, we take a personal approach to education, giving you the guidance you need to own your future. It's not just our long history of innovative learning, it's the feeling of being surrounded by possibilities that makes us different. Now is your time. Apply today at doane.edu/apply.
Welcome into The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Canopy Street Market.
All right, welcome into the Breeze. Harrison Arens going to be solo just for today, this weekend at the very least. DP Haas on the road on some sports business, as you can possibly imagine. But you guys are welcome to join in, 402-464-5685. And with the theme of it being the Breeze, we will be in the Breeze. We'll kind of go through a few different sports here today. I think that's a fair thing to do because it's been a really busy week of Husker athletics and then, of course, high school athletics. I do want to keep putting that reminder. We will start our state basketball coverage starting this upcoming week here with the women this week and then the boys the week following. We'll have a good collection of guys out there. All the games that we'll be covering will be at the Vault, and just about it, I think every single one of those games at the Vault between men and women. I said it on Fitness Fanatics. Only got the one signal, so we unfortunately will not be at the Bob and the Bank, but all of the games at the Pinnacle Bank Arena, we will have calls for. And it'll be a collection of Nick Sainert, of course. If you guys have listened to our high school state basketball football coverage before, you probably recognize the name and the voice of Nick Sainert. Also, Jay Foreman will be joining him as well. And then a collection of Austin Orman, Nick Sainert, Tristan Gomez, Austin and Tristan. You get the idea. We'll have a pretty good group of guys out there covering it all. So you get some different voices, some different opinions, and with a lot of times, who knows who shows up? Maybe we have some alumni that play basketball either for the University of Nebraska that hops on to give a call. Always a possibility when we're out there. But there are basketball to get to for Nebraska basketball. I want to talk about their win over USC yesterday was a big time win, especially when you look around of everything that happened this week, where a lot of the teams ahead of you in the AP poll rankings have taken losses. So again, working for that final seeding in the March Madness tournament with now only really just a handful, not even a full handful of games left as we're ticking away towards the end of the season. And on the women's side, good for them to get a big win. I think they should be in the tournament now. Big Ten tournament win would really lock it in. Two pretty much guaranteed, but if they go and just lose right away in the Big Ten tournament, I think they're all right. But there's a discussion to where maybe they're deciding to play in the NIT, which I don't want to put that on them because I do think right now they're actually sitting okay and should be able to make another appearance into March Madness. But for the men, it's really just trying to figure out where that seeding is at, which is a conversation we almost never get to have. Usually it's March 1st rolls around and we're talking about Husker hoops, hoping to squeak out, not just the rest of the regular season wins, but how many games do we need to win in the Big Ten tournament to get a bid? And obviously last year we fell part of the regular season. Big Ten tournament didn't go the way we wanted. So we didn't get it. We get the college basketball crown instead. And shout out to the guys who played in the college basketball crown because there is a little bit of a trend. You go look at all the teams that decided to participate in that last year in Vegas. Those teams all typically had a pretty good turnaround this year. And a lot of them I know are favored to make it to the tournament. And Nebraska being, the one who won the college basketball crown and has turned in probably the most success on anybody as they're sitting there, last I've seen, probably in that number 3 seed. I keep looking at Joe Lenardi's brackets. They haven't changed a lot. And again, when you go through all the teams that lost over the weekend, and maybe that's where we should start out before we get to USC versus Nebraska and the box score of that game. But you had number 11 Virginia losing to Duke, and these games were Saturday games, all of yesterday. So there's a team in front of you that took a loss. Number 14 Kansas lost, but they were playing number 2 Arizona, to be fair. Number 4 Iowa State lost again. They are now 24-5 and 11-5 in Big 12 conference play, and they lost to number 16 Texas Tech 73-82. UConn got in a close one. They were able to pull it off, but they almost did lose to a 9-9 in Big East play. Seton Hall 19-10 overall. Final score was 71-67. Number 6 UConn kind of escapes away with the close one. Florida dominated Arkansas. Number 9 Gonzaga, another team ahead of Nebraska. They took a loss to St. Mary's with a final score of 59-70. A good St. Mary's team, quad 1 opponent, but still nonetheless, pretty dominant win by them. We talked about Nebraska. They stay on. They win in their match. You had number 22 losing to number 17 Alabama in a close one. Not a whole lot of change there. And then you had number 19 BYU. They got upset by West Virginia 79-71. You had, I believe, one more in there that I'm missing. Yeah, number 25 Vanderbilt loses 77-91. over Kentucky. So you got another upset. And those were all just Saturday games. And then on Friday, doesn't really shake things a lot. But for our case, it's good to keep Illinois further back because we're not going to catch Michigan in the Big Ten play at this point. But number 3, Michigan beat number 10, Illinois, 84-70. Both favors for us there. And then number 13, Michigan State, who we've played once. We only had to play once and already have the win over. Took down Purdue, evening that series. You had a 13 Michigan State upset number 8 Purdue, 76-74. Great game. But we actually had a lot of games that lined up in Nebraska's favor. So although it may have not seemed like it at the time, that was a big deal for that Nebraska team to go out there on the road and get a win at USC. 82-67 was the final score in that one. And we'll go through some key numbers and some of the box score stuff, but it's once again kind of the battle of two halves there. Bryce Sanford, leading scorer in this one, he had 32 points. Baker Mazzara, he had 14 for USC, and for a while there, it looked like he might have the ability to take over. Field goal percentage, 44 for Nebraska, 45 for USC. 3-point percentage, and this is where USC really fell apart. 8 for 23 for Nebraska, 4 for 21 for USC. USC shot 19% from 3. Nebraska shot 35. Now, again, they only took 21, so they didn't take a ton of threes. But even then, shooting at such a low percentage is going to hurt you. Free throws, Nebraska 14 for 15, USC 17 for 18. Both teams did a good job getting to the line, making just about every single one of them count. Rebounding battle, and this has actually been a bigger problem for USC than it has been Nebraska. I know in a lot of these losses, when we, especially talking about the Purdue loss, you look at the offensive rebounds in that game and the rebounding as a total, and it led to a 17-shot differential where Purdue got 17 more shots on the night than Nebraska did. And Nebraska still just barely lost that game in overtime. The math worked out in Purdue's favor because you just gave them so many more attempts at the rim, even though Nebraska in that game shot a better field goal percentage from the floor, shot a better field goal percentage from 3. I think from the free throw line, they were okay. Assist numbers were good. Turnovers were down. But because they just couldn't rebound, Purdue got so many more swings at it that eventually the math worked out in Purdue's favor where they squeak out that win, which would have been an incredibly impressive win by Nebraska. But nonetheless, we move on, and they did. They've picked up their schedule pretty well since then. Going through these numbers, though, the rebounding battle, like I said, Nebraska dominates 41-25, which is a number that you really love to see. Again, talking about some of Nebraska's losses, that's usually been the key factor to really lose it for us, and you didn't see that one. 18 offensive rebounds to USC's 5, and defensive rebounds are pretty close. The assist game, 20 for Nebraska, 17 for USC. Nebraska had 9 steals, 3 blocks, only 12 turnovers. Meanwhile, USC had 14 turnovers, and Nebraska did more, got more points off those turnovers, 19 to USC's 12. Points to the paint, Nebraska wins that one as well, 42-32, and everything else, nothing too major. Largest lead for USC was 7, I think, both in that first half. Second half, largest lead. Obviously, Nebraska took over with as much as a 20-point lead at one point in time. And tale of two halves. One, Sam Hoiberg found himself in a foul trouble. And I actually thought the broadcast did a good job to point this out. If people are like me and watching it on Big Ten Network, the team just plays way better when Sam Hoiberg's on the court. And they talked about it at the right time because I don't think we saw a better example in that first half. Sam Hoiberg, he gets the foul trouble. He gets 2 relatively early. And I want to say like the last 13 minutes, 11 minutes, Sam Hoiberg sat the entire first half. I mean, that has kind of been the philosophy of Nebraska basketball is if they have guys in foul trouble, they will, from my knowledge, do anything they can if they're a significant player to prevent them from getting that third foul to the point where they'll sit you for a majority of a half just to make sure in that second half, you're not going out there to start the second half with 3 fouls already. It seemed like it was blowing up in our face a little bit. The turnovers were starting to really rack up. But Nebraska stayed close enough in it. 31-36 at the end of the first half after really Nebraska felt like they should have controlled and cruised to somewhat of a cushion, not a major one. It actually was kind of all USC down the end of that second half there. And in the second half, you get a fresh Sam Hoiberg, and the game's just changed immediately. You see the turnovers stop. The assist ratio goes back up. He just does a lot of things. And then the defense. You can tell USC could breathe a little bit easier when Sam Hoiberg wasn't on the court, just because he makes you rethink every pass you throw, knowing that he's kind of hovering around in the middle, and he's deserves a lot of credit for what he's done athletically to be in the shape that he is, because he is explosive, and maybe he's always been that explosive. We're just seeing it in his extended role this year. But I mean, that's how he gets a lot of steals. I think he just catches a lot of opponents off guard with how quick he can be, and then his reaction time, and a lot of it just having active hands. It's just saying discipline and keeping those hands in those passing lanes. All this to say, I mean, he was just a game changer. Second half started, it was pretty instant. Let's see. We got Brian chiming in here. You guys can chime in as well. Right now, I'm talking Husker Hoops, 402-464-5685. Just going solo here, so definitely more than welcome to engage. And then I'll switch it up. We'll talk Husker football later. There's still some more spring audio clips that I want to get to involving three of the coaches that spoke. This one from Brian, though, says, I'm concerned about the rough first halves for the Huskers in the NCAA tournament. Good teams won't let them come back like the USC game. I mean, you're not wrong. And this is kind of where we had to fall in a lot of these things. If we go look at Nebraska, and again, I'm not defending slow starts. It's not ever smart to have a slow start in the game plan. But if you go look at the Maryland game, it was the same story. Slow start. Nebraska pulls away at the end of the first half, 33-27, but it was kind of ugly getting there. In the second half, they really do damage. You know, is it enough for me to say this team's not going to win their first tournament game? Which I know that's not what the texter's saying. No, I think it's still a really good team, and I felt better about them finally breaking that unfortunate record in my lifetime and anybody who's a Nebraska Husker Hoops fan's lifetime. But I mean, if we fix the slow starts, I don't like projecting, but then we're looking at like a Final Four team or like a team that's at least good enough to make the Final Four. I think those are the fine nitpicking things that is fair to talk about. But to Nebraska's credit, when they have these slow starts, their defense usually matches up well enough to where they're not getting blown out of the water. And their offense has shown that they got enough legs on them in that second half to really take over. So should they have slow starts? No, it's not ideal because you're obviously creating a mountain that you have to come back from. Produce another one where you start that game and it's 1-14. You somehow still get that game to overtime. And I think the lead maybe got as close to 20 in that game at its peak. And if Nebraska doesn't start out 1-14 in the first few minutes of play, well then, you know, we probably won that game as a whole. But to Nebraska's credit, they came back and made it a close battle. So despite the slow starts, and I'm not sure what the problem is and why that seems to be more of a recent trend than it was earlier in the beginning of the season, it's still a lot of positives that their defense is good as it is to keep teams at bay. Even when we can look at some of these first halves and really scratch our head of how are we still in this one when it feels like we're just watching an offense that is taking good shots but is missing open layups, which has been a weird thing, I got to say, at the beginning of games, and just not making our 3-point attempts. But they're still good enough on defense to hold teams at bay and make it so that second half run can start. And I think why the second halves maybe look so different than the first halves as well is I think teams just get tired of Nebraska's offense. Like if you were watching the game and these past, you know, really 5, 7, 10 games, watch how teams just guard Price Sanford. It's running around constantly. They use them almost a little bit like how they use Steph Curry for the Golden State Warriors. Not the same, but it is a little bit more NBA where that dribble handoff in Fred Hoiberg's offense is alive and thriving. You're going to see that all game long is dribble handoff, dribble handoff, dribble handoff. Those defenders are constantly having to go not just through screens, but over top of screens because a guy like Price Sanford, as soon as you go underneath it, he's going to pull up and shoot the three if you give him that window. So that's not possible. You have to chase through it. And if not, you have to switch. Well, if you switch, you get some mismatches. And this team's shown over and over and over again how good as it is exposing mismatches with their pass making. But with Price Sanford, again, if that's kind of the game you're playing, is just chasing him all day long. And the few times that you don't, or you make a switch, usually Nebraska's good enough playmaking wise to figure out where that other weakness is at. But then you get to that second half, and I really do just think that's what happens. It's tough to guard a guy like Samford for 2 halves. And then if Sam Hoiberg's starting to feel it, he'll go take you off the dribble when you're not necessarily anticipating it. So if you kind of got your hand on your knees, you're, just not 100% locked in defensively. That was, again, yesterday. You saw in the second half, Sam Hoiberg kind of imposed his will. And a lot of times it was just catching guys that weren't ready, just off the dribble, putting his body into them and going up and getting easy layups. Well, I shouldn't say easy, tough work to layups. But I do think it's the endurance of this team, which says a lot because they are usually just running 7 guys deep. But if you're able to withstand with Sam Hoiberg on the bench for a majority of that first half where you're turning the ball over, the offense is not going, again, it's a slow start. Your defense is that good to where you kind of stay in the game regardless. So is it a nothing burger to talk about the slow starts for Nebraska's offense? No. It's not enough to make me panic, though. Because when you look around again, a big part of why I went through all those scores, it's really tough to be perfect at college basketball. And there's not a lot of teams doing it. The closest one so far is Michigan. And even Michigan, when we were down 2 of our top 3 leading scorers on the road, we almost beat Michigan. And a lot of Michigan fans were probably scratching their head wondering, how the hell is this game with Nebraska right now? So it's got some weaknesses. It's also got a lot of strengths that I think are going to keep this team afloat. And I say it every year when we get closer to filling out those March Madness brackets, which, by the way, we will, as always, do our 93.7 The Ticket Tournament Challenge. Don't know what the prizes will be for that, but that's always something we enjoy doing. When we get to those conversations, it is no longer me trying to scheme up a bunch of ways of, boy, okay, if this goes right and, so-and-so drops X amount of points, so-and-so doesn't turn the ball over, we will have a chance to win this game. Now I'm more of the mindset of, okay, Nebraska, you're kind of most likely going to be your chance to lose the game. I think if they play their brand of basketball the way they have been, they don't need any sort of miracles. They don't need, a Jamarcus Lawrence sneaky game where he drops 18 plus points, or Rink Mass to be back on his game where he's going 5 of 8 from 3. No, I think they just doing what they're doing. Even these being quote unquote slow starts, I think a lot of those games, despite some of the slow starts, they're beating just about most of those lower ranked teams in the bracket. Now we get to the round of 32. It's another conversation. We'll have to see who we have playing against. And then, of course, 16, you get the Elite 8 Final Four. The conversation just gets bigger and bigger. But I do like Nebraska's ability to navigate around their deficiencies. And look around college basketball, especially the past 2 days, there's been a lot of teams struggling. Even teams like Michigan, who I can't remember who they lost to. They had a loss not too long ago as well, I want to say. So not everyone can just go perfect start to finish. Even Miami, Ohio, who's still undefeated in some action, they almost gave one away. I want to say it was 2 days ago. Maybe it was yesterday. And their matchup, see if I can find it here. Maybe I'll have to go look at it on the other side. Miami, Ohio versus Western Michigan. Yeah, 67-69. So even the perfect Miami, Ohio, who's 16-0 in MACtion, who's 29-0 overall record, almost lost to the 4-12 Western Michigan MAC school. And that's a team who's been pulling off, the impossible just about all night long, or not all night, but all year long. And a lot of it is not going to be their defensive prowess. It's going to be their offensive just firepower. That when that team gets rolling, you go look at Miami, Ohio scores, they're getting into the hundreds more often than not. But then they have a night like they did 2 days ago where they're playing Western Michigan and their offense is just flat. And they just barely come out alive with a 69-67 win. It's tough to be perfect all year round, but on the bright side, defense, it's a lot easier to maintain that game in, game out. And that's why, again, I really like this Nebraska basketball team, especially heading towards the tournament here. They can have slow starts, but because their defense is consistent and they don't let up on that floor, regardless of what the offense might look like that night, that is what gives me the most optimism, that this is a very good Nebraska basketball team and one that should be talked about a little bit more. Excuse me. I know I mentioned Joe Lenardi earlier in his bracketology brackets, but Nebraska's still at a point, at least it is to me, that they're not really getting the respect nationwide. We're getting to the articles now of like X amount of teams that are the real title contenders. And you see all these teams in the top 25 there, sometimes like all the way to the 25th team ranked nationally in the country. And Nebraska is nowhere to be seen. Not in the title contenders, not in the I would be shocked category. Just the rest of the field, maybe. Didn't spend the time to write a report on them, though. That's kind of where they're at. I haven't seen a ton of articles out there that are not Husker biased that truly give this team a lot of benefit of the doubt. So it should be pretty exciting. So I feel like there will obviously be a lot of eyes on it. You know what the narrative is going to be. They're going to flash that graphic that says Nebraska basketball, the only Power 4 school to never win a NCAA March Madness tournament game. That graphic will come up, not once, not twice, but multiple times throughout, pregame and then right leading up to tip-off. And then if it's a close game, they'll put it up again at half. You get the idea. That's going to be the narrative. And I don't know if people have fully grasped how good this basketball team is yet. That's not a guarantee that they're going to punch their ticket and go make a serious run. Like I said, what you consider a serious run, round Sweet 16, Elite 8, you tell me. But I think at the very least, people are wondering, are they good enough to win the first round? I think so. Absolutely. And then I don't know if people really in the national landscape think about this team past the round of 32. And I'm generally sitting here, and I know these slow starts are a conversation piece, and rightfully so. It's not enough to scare me to think that this team can, at the very least, be good enough to find themselves in the Sweet 16. Big win versus Maryland, and then they got UCLA up next to finish up their West Coast trip, I believe at 10 p.m. So fun Tuesday. If you guys are willing, you can join us. I don't know who it'll all be. I don't want to be myself, maybe Nick Wyman and Austin Orman. But we're probably talking a post game of 12 to 1 a.m. So that'll be enjoyable. There's a lot of hard jobs out there. I'm not complaining. I'll more than happy to talk to you guys about Nebraska basketball versus UCLA. Because then after that, it's Iowa. And that wraps up the regular season. And, of course, the Iowa game, there's a lot of narratives into that for reasons we already know about. With the tough loss that we took at their place where they presented the Heroes Trophy and they had the football team there, a good portion of them anyways, and a lot of extra cherries on top for the Iowa Hawkeye fans to get that win. But we'll get them back with 2 more regular season games left. We got one on March 3rd versus UCLA. Like I said, real late post game, but we'll be there. And then, of course, March 8th versus Iowa at home, wraps up senior day for Nebraska. And they take on the Iowa Hawkeyes for a chance of revenge. And that wraps up the regular season. And then we're officially into Big Ten tournament play. And I think even if they just win one of those, they should be pretty locked in to a top 4 seed in the Big Ten, which gives you the triple bye, which would be a big deal. Again, this team usually only plays 7 deep. You give guys like Rank Mast some really good rest. Maybe he gets that rhythm back a little bit or his legs underneath him. Although he did have his first dunk of the season yesterday. So maybe his legs are already back underneath him. With that being said, we'll throw it to break. We'll get to some Husker football audio clips on the other side. We'll talk about some of the new coaches. Haven't gotten all of those yet. So all that on the other side. This is The Breeze. Harrison Arens on the 1s and 2s. 2 more segments. I'll talk to you in a bit. 93.7 The Ticket.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
It's basketball season, and Salt Mine City is your pregame and postgame headquarters in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Get ready for the game with their big, fatty 7-ounce hamburger or try a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, your basketball headquarters, now open at 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
It's seafood season at Amigos. Time to get that one-of-a-kind crisp crab rangoon burrito and dip it in some sweet chili sauce. There's a crab rangoon Frenchie, too. Enjoy grilled fish, grilled shrimp, or crispy fish tacos, wrapped in warm whole wheat tortillas, topped with pico de gallo, cabbage, and Amigos Chipotle mayo sauce. From jumbo shrimp baskets or fish and chips to fish tacos, there's something for everyone. You'll love the bold, fresh flavors of seafood at Amigos. Amigos is serving up a brand new way to score the bold, fresh flavors you love with 8 affordable value meals. At $5 and $6, these meals are easy on the wallet, so treat yourself anytime. Sink into the new 3-cheese melt or taco melt, both stacked with crave-worthy flavor in every bite. There's crunchy taquito dippers, too, perfect for dunking in Amigos' famous ranch or spicy cheese. Big flavor, small price. Value meals at Amigos.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
You started your business to build something special. Now it's time to grow and protect it. At Pinnacle Bank, our treasury management services help you do just that. Through smarter payment technology, account administration, and fraud protection. So no matter the size of your business, you can get the most out of your financial operations. Request your free consultation at pinbank.com/consult. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. This is The Breeze. Here's the runs on the ones and twos. You guys are always welcome to join in. 402-464-5685. That is the starting him text line. Shout out John in Portland. Says he might be there with me for the Husker Hoops post-game show. He's got an early one so he's got to get up. Go Big Red. Yeah, that one should be a fun one. Again, the UCLA game Tuesday, this upcoming week here, obviously, at 10 p.m. So probably get over a little past midnight. So shout out to everyone who's got to get up early on Wednesday mornings. And if you're also a big Nebraska basketball fan, you're going to have a little bit of a challenge there. Unless you're one of those people that works fine and you only need like 5-6 hours of sleep, and that's totally enough for you. I envy you, but should be fun. And if you guys are up to stay up for it, then we'll be here. We always say we'll stay up as long as the text line's still going. Now, I doubt you guys are going until 3 a.m., but you never know. Maybe it's that good of a win. And I will say there are some records to be had. I know Price Sanford can obtain the Big Ten single season three-pointers made record, currently held by a Michigan State alum. I think he just needs 5 or 4 more. And he's averaging over 3 made a game. So there's a good chance if he's having a good night, he breaks that one on the road at UCLA, and he will officially lead the Big Ten as the single season three-pointers made record holder. Or, I'd imagine there's a very low case chance that he doesn't get it whatsoever. Because if he makes a couple, then he's only got to make a couple more versus Iowa. And then he has it. And then the title solely belongs to himself. So part of it would be kind of sweet if he gets it versus Iowa, but I wouldn't be mad if he just got it out of the way. Take care of it versus UCLA, and then versus Iowa, I think we just care about a win. Get revenge on those guys. I think we're all a little bit tired of being Iowa's Super Bowl, because that's, one of the few they get. I know Chris Raff says it all the time. We have to beat them in football so we can take back the Heroes Trophy, so their trophy case can go back to being empty. Because right now it kind of feels like that's the one thing that they take a lot of pride in, and fair enough. They win it. We want to win it too, and we're just not able to. So, all right, speaking of football, though, let's go ahead and get a little bit into it. We still have audio clips. Kind of played these last week with Mornay Pearsonell and Chris Raff as the week went along, but there was quite a bit, and we didn't get to them all. So here's a few that I still found interesting. And we do got Brett Maher on Archie Wilson, and he talks about how he wants Archie Wilson to improve, but he got into a little bit with details on this one. So here is the now new special teams coordinator, Brett Maher, on how he wants Archie Wilson to improve.
I think that'll just be like his kind of stock balls is what I call it. His stock lefts, his stock rights, and then using the other stuff kind of as a change up, but giving him a little more like freedom through rhythm, if that makes sense. Because his style is very unique to me. And coaching him last year for the first time was very eye-opening to what I had ever seen or done. So a lot of last year was me trying to learn him and learn that style. And I think like I fell into the trap a couple of times of shoot, he can hit this ball, he can hit this ball, he can hit this ball. Let's go out and, let's practice all of them. When I do think not reining him in, because I want him to be able to go out there and have the freedom to, try to pull off some stuff that's pretty crazy, because that can be a huge advantage for us. But also like making sure that he has something that he can go to in any given circumstance or situation.
So with everything that new special teams coordinator Brett Maher said, again, a lot of this is so preseason. I'm not going to have big problems with any of it, because there's no chance for me to verify whether what they're saying is true or not, because I don't see it. I'm not at practice. We have some people who get insights at practice, but they're only getting bits and pieces as well. They're not in there all day with the team, seeing how they operate. But with Brett Maher, it makes sense with Wilson, because he does so many things that are unique that can cause a lot of problems. You don't want to eliminate that. You want to keep those in the bag for sure, because again, anytime you can have just such a versatile skill set like he currently does, you don't want to take things away, But I think what he's referring to is, I think you're referring to stock balls. Let's just get some kicks that we know work every time and that you're bread and butter. And if we need to pin it with inside the 10, which gives us the best chance? What do we do here as opposed to kind of being, I don't want to say loose with it, because it's not like Mike Eckler was ever loose with his special teams operations. We wouldn't have had the results we did if he was. He certainly had a rhyme and reason to it. But I think more just in the development of Wilson. I don't know if this would change with Eckler here or not. I wouldn't be surprised if it continued to be more of the same. But just getting some of those quote unquote stock balls done or stock punts polished up, some things that he can really lean on to where if we're in a big time special team situation, he's got something he's really comfortable with, that not only comfortable with getting it off every time, which he's never had a problem with that, but one that he feels really in control of, to where we can set it up whichever way he wants to go. Because again, he can go left or right. Let's find something that works just about every single time you want it to. And I think that's what he's referring to, which again, maybe coach speak, but I always think there's a little bit of truth into it. And that's probably what you expect with a guy like Wilson, but it is kind of good to hear from the coaches as well. Double down with it. Here's him on the stuff they did well last year, but they expect some things to be different heading into the special teams here.
There was a lot of stuff that we did really well last year. So it would be foolish on our end to try to wholesale change everything. And I think as you guys have listened to Coach Rule, that's not something that we're interested in doing. We're going to keep what worked and we're going to evolve the rest of the facets of it. So I guess to kind of put a bow on that one is not looking back on what the past of it was, but figuring out the best way forward to maximize the guys that we have here. And I do think, in terms of special teams, you've got all different shapes and sizes and athletic talents that you can find a piece for. The challenge for us is figuring out how to put those, all those different guys into advantageous situations to be successful, make sure they're confident, make sure they're fearless. And you got to be a little bit wild to play special teams too. So finding those the right guys and the right blends. Nick and I's personalities are not the same, and that's just the fact of the matter. But I've seen it work with so many different people that at the end of the day, it's the players that are out there playing, and it's our job to put them in situations to be successful, in situations to be fearless, in situations to be confident, and build the culture of special teams, which Coach Rule plays a huge part in.
So yeah, but maybe stuff that we knew part of already, right? I don't think there was any plans to ever uproot the special team system that Mike Eckler put in place and start brand new, fresh. I can't remember where, but I feel like Rules said that before. But you get double confirmation with Maher saying, "Listen, the things that work, we're going to continue to do," because he was obviously there with Mike Eckler for a lot of those operations. So it's not like he's got to try to learn everything. He knows it already, but maybe add on to some different things that may open up with the personnel that they have. And I think that's important because, you can't just bring in your offense or your defense or your special teams philosophy or maintain the same one that the last guy left if your personnel doesn't fit. And I think that's a mistake that you honestly see it probably in NIL more, where some of these athletes kind of go for the bigger number, and you'll go watch a quarterback who is maybe a great, pocket passer, go to a school who's offering more money, but maybe demands a lot more, or doesn't demand a lot more, but has had more success with mobile quarterbacks. Now, you still got the coach there, and you still got the same position coach there. They didn't leave, but they're known for, I'll say it's like a Georgia Tech. They're known for producing those type of quarterbacks, and that's how their offense is operated, with a mobile running quarterback. Well, they might still take the flyer on you because you're a great 4-star athlete or 5-star athlete, but is that staff going to be willing to create an offensive system that best suits the quarterback? And at Nebraska, I don't know if we've always done that very well. Jeff Sims, I hate to always use him as the example, but look at how we used him when he was here, kind of in that pro style. I mean, I don't know if they wanted him to be more of a dual threat quarterback or what happened there. Again, it kind of just got so bumpy But then you go look at how Arizona State used him. And Arizona State simply said, listen, and he wasn't even the starter. They had this in place for him just as a backup. It was like, listen, we know that your strength is not accuracy when it comes to throwing the ball. We do know that you're one of the better athletes out here on the entire field. So we're going to dial up a bunch of QB design run plays and let you run amok. And that's where you'd see ridiculous stat lines from Jeff Sims because, well, you had a coaching staff that worked with what was his best skill sets and hid where his weaknesses were. I don't know if we've always done that super well here at Nebraska. Jeff Sims is one example, but, you know, we had Adrian Martinez, and then we also had his brother, or not his brother, Christian McCaffrey's brother, Luke McCaffrey. So maybe a little bit of the same. You're getting kind of two dual threat guys, but one is clearly, well, he figured it eventually. Just more of a wide receiver than he was a quarterback. And then we kind of got to a point to where we had such a mixed room. We had Dylan Raiola in there, which fine. I'm not a guy who's just going to try to dunk on Dylan Raiola. Good luck to him at Oregon. It doesn't affect me. But then you had TJ Lateef. You just kind of had we have our pocket passing quarterback who is not known whatsoever for being a mobile quarterback. And then not just this backup, but the next couple backups and the guys we have recruited down the road are all known for being more mobile dual threats. So I don't know if that's a big deal. Like I said, I'm not in those rooms, but it just feels like personnel and culture matters. And unfortunately, that's why Iowa seems to get the better end of us over and over and over, because they might understand that better than anybody else. Like, this is what we do. We do it well. It's not flashy, but we know what to look for. And because we've been doing this for so long, we know what works and what doesn't work. We know what are the kind of the key things to look for in our linemen and our tight ends and our defense, because they have that identity. And, you know, if you want to change the identity, tweak the identity, that is easier said than done, because you got to make sure the personnel is kind of lining up with your mindset change. You can't just change your mind and still have the same players on there. They got to kind of be symbiotic with each other. It's got to happen at the same time when those things are going on. So kind of a little bit of spiel there, but it was good to hear that they're not going to just his understanding of we're going to keep doing what works, but we're also going to look at what the personnel has to offer. And if there's things that we can add, or if there's things that aren't going to be going as well with some of this different personnel change, maybe tweak it there. So maybe we'll get to a couple more clips on the other side. Harrison Arns, this is the Breeze, talking a lot of football here. Don't go anywhere. We got one more segment on the other side. Talk to you in a bit. 93.7 The Ticket.
Looking for something fun tonight? Axe throwing, local beer, and great vibes are waiting at Arbor Axe House. From casual nights out to celebrations and team events, it all starts here. Reserve a lane today at arbораxe.com. Arbor Axe House at the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road. If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion, for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
If you're a farmer, you need to hear this game-changing news about crop insurance. It's now possible to protect up to 95% of your farm's revenue, not at the county level, but down to your individual fields. At Trados, we help farms design protection that works with their marketing plan, not in isolation. The key isn't buying another product. It's understanding how coverage, grain marketing, and your operation work together. As hail and wind rates continue to increase, now's the time to ask better questions. Call us today or visit gotrados.com to start protecting 95%. That's GOTREDAS.com. Trados, ingrained in your success.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
Tomorrow is about the lessons we learn today. A farmer's market teaches us that community is grown together. Kids laughing shows us how joy is easy. And coffee on the porch reminds us to savor every moment. These are the lessons that shape a tomorrow we all share. One filled with trust, good company, and wide open dreams. That's the way banking should be. And that's Pinnacle Bank. Member FDIC.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. Final segment, The Breeze, solo episode of The Breeze. No Haas, no DP, but don't worry, those guys should be back next week. Let's wrap up a little bit more Husker football. Let's get to this audio quote. This one from Manning, that's Vegas coach here at Nebraska. Here's him on the expectations of Nebraska. Thoughts on his first few weeks on the job. Here's Coach Manning.
Yeah, it's right on par with, I guess, that echelon of schools and programs. I mean, top tier facilities, top tier, coaching and competition. And as far as the roster, I mean, we have a really good roster and just have to build and grow and develop right now, but exciting. It's exciting to see. So I don't know if it was I came in with a certain expectation, having been in a conference, many years ago, but obviously all eyes are always on Nebraska football. So I guess in that way it met the expectation.
So yeah, right there. Just nice things to hear about your university. New guys always usually have something nice to say, but I'll be curious. He's got a big job in front of him. I think a lot of people would argue the defense collectively struggled, right? I'm not trying to single anybody out, but just that Nebraska's ability to get pressure was non-existent in certain games. And, when you're playing a team like Utah and you can't get to the quarterback and you're allowing their linemen to get to the second level, like you're going to be in for a long day. And that's exactly what happened. Same thing with Iowa. Like if you're unable to kind of break through that offensive line front and you're unable to get any type of pressure, I mean, that Iowa had all day to throw when we played them. And that was a huge problem. That's how they dropped 40 plus points on us, was there was, never any real threat on defense other than the quarterback maybe getting sloppy and just forcing a throw that wasn't there, not because he was getting pressured, but just because he wasn't mentally right on that throw. And the same thing with Penn State. Just again, it got worked. And a little bit of the linebackers too, defensive edges, but the defensive line, like all that kind of goes together. That's a big problem for Nebraska, especially when you're playing in the Big Ten. Same thing happened for Minnesota. Minnesota wasn't doing any high-tech offense. I mean, it was pretty basic stuff that if you played high school football, like you probably ran the same things. Like it was very outside zone run, just over and over and over. Nebraska couldn't stop it. Minnesota gets a dominant win over us. Got to fix that if you're in the Big Ten. Here's more on him. Manning, do you like the guys that already have length, or do you want guys that you can coach with? We got a long caption here, with their length. All right, so here's basically what he has for some of the size out there for the defensive edges.
Yeah, I think they'd have the length, because when I watch high school tape, most of the tall, long guys really don't know how to use any of their length whatsoever. They're 6'5", but like they're really not elongating and leaning into guys and keeping guys separated. So like from a development standpoint, even if they're like a 5-star, they walk through the door and they have so much room to grow and improve and understand how to use what they have, and so that's where the experience in my shoes help, right? To kind of show them like, hey, you ain't even activating what you got yet, but we're going to get you there. So
there you have it. Just some more words on the Husker football. Still putting together what feels like quite a few puzzle pieces. Just trying to understand what this football team's expectations are, what their ceiling might be, what their floor is. Not saying we're doomed to fail, not saying we're absolutely set up to go succeed. I'm just saying it'll be an interesting year. A lot on the line for Matt Rule and staff, but I know we all hope that we can celebrate a successful Husker football year, but we got a lot of time to think about it. We still haven't even had the spring game. So don't go anywhere. We'll keep it rolling here. We got plenty of replays set up on a lot of our live streaming, so definitely check that out. Appreciate everybody listening. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association.